The stars of the Andromeda frontier shone brighter than any Alara Vance had ever seen. From the bridge of the ISS Vanguard, she watched the endless sea of light and color, feeling both awe and a heavy weight of responsibility. Humanity had finally reached the edge of known space, and this mission could determine the future of the species. Alara was the commander of the first official human delegation to contact the Kareth Dominion, an alien race known for their incredible intelligence and strict traditions. The Kareth had lived in isolation for centuries, and humans had only seen glimpses of their advanced technology through distant probes. Now, for the first time, face-to-face contact was possible. She adjusted her uniform, feeling the familiar sense of pride and unease. Diplomacy had always been difficult, but this mission carried stakes that no previous human had ever faced. The Kareth were telepathic. They could read emotions, intentions, even memories if given the chance. And humans, well, humans were known for being stubborn. That combination could be dangerous. The Vanguard descended into the upper atmosphere of Althera, a planet of emerald forests and glimmering oceans. Its sky was painted in shades of violet and gold, unlike anything humans had ever seen. The Kareth capital city shimmered in the distance, built with towers of silver and crystal, connected by bridges that seemed to float in midair. It was beautiful, but alien, and it made Alara's heart race. The landing platform was massive, hovering above the main city plaza. As the human delegation stepped out, they were met by the Kareth High Council. The aliens were tall, almost 3 meters in height, with sleek silver skin that reflected light like mirrors. Their eyes glowed softly, an expressionless gaze that sent a shiver down Alara's spine. "Welcome to Althera," one of the Kareth said, in perfect English, though his mouth did not move. Their words echoed in the minds of every human present. Telepathy, Alara reminded herself. They don't need to speak aloud. "Thank you," Alara said, stepping forward. She raised a hand in greeting. "I am Commander Alara Vance, representing the United Earth Alliance. We come in peace." The Kareth Council nodded as one, their movements perfectly synchronized. From the center of the group, a figure stepped forward. He was taller than the others, with a commanding presence that seemed to fill the plaza. His silver skin gleamed under the alien sun, and his eyes shone brighter than any star. "I am Valorn," he said, his voice not heard but felt. A strange vibration, not sound, but thought entered Alara's mind. "You will be my soulmate, human. No one can stand in our way." The word struck her like lightning. Every person in the delegation froze, staring at the imposing Kareth. Alara felt her stomach drop. Her pulse quickened. Her mind spun with confusion and disbelief. She had expected diplomatic greetings, perhaps cautious curiosity, but never this. "What did he just say?" whispered Lieutenant Rourke, standing behind her. His eyes were wide with fear. Alara swallowed hard. "I think he just said he wants me as his soulmate." She did not know what to feel. Fear, confusion, or a strange sense of connection that she could not explain. Valorn's gaze held hers, and it felt like he could see every thought, every secret, every hidden feeling. It was both terrifying and oddly calming. She tried to step back, but her feet felt rooted to the ground. "Commander Vance," one of the Kareth spoke softly into her mind. "Do not be afraid. This is not a threat." Alara blinked rapidly, trying to regain her composure. "Not a threat?" she whispered aloud. Her voice sounded small against the vast alien plaza. "Then what is it?" Valorn's presence seemed to expand, and she felt a warmth in her mind, a gentle push against her fears. "It is destiny. It has been foretold. Our bond will unite our species." "Bond?" Alara asked, unsure if she wanted an answer. "Yes. You are chosen." Her mind raced. "Chosen? Chosen for what?" She glanced at the humans around her. Some looked confused, others frightened, and a few were visibly angry. Diplomacy had just become impossible. We need time to understand this," Alara said slowly, choosing her words carefully. "Humanity doesn't decide things lightly, and this is very sudden." Valorn tilted his head as if studying her. "Sudden, perhaps, but fate is never slow." Alara forced herself to step forward. She needed to take control. "We must maintain order. I request a private meeting," she said aloud. "Just you and me. We can talk, understand each other better." Valorn regarded her silently. Then, with a single nod, he turned and began walking toward a massive crystalline tower at the center of the plaza. Ilara followed, her mind buzzing with questions. Every step toward him made the psychic pull stronger. It was as if an invisible thread connected them, tugging her forward. The tower's interior was breathtaking. Light shimmered off the walls, creating patterns that danced like water. Valorn led her to a circular chamber at the top, overlooking the city. The view was stunning, but Ilara's focus remained on the being before her. "Why me?" she finally asked, her voice steady but her heart racing. "Because you have something rare," Valorn replied. "Humanity has courage. Humanity has emotion. You feel things deeply. That is what the Kareth have long lost. And that is why you are perfect." Ilara felt a shiver run down her spine. The Kareth had been known as brilliant, logical, and unyielding. Yet here he was, speaking of feelings as if they were the most valuable currency in the universe. "Perfect?" she repeated. Her mind spun. This is more than diplomacy. You can't just choose someone to bond with. It's not our way. It is destiny," Valorn said simply. "And destiny is not bound by ways or rules." Ilara exhaled, trying to steady herself. She had faced impossible missions before, but never this. Never being told that the fate of her species might hinge on this. She glanced at her hands, feeling the tension in her muscles. The silence stretched. Then unexpectedly a laugh escaped her. Soft, nervous, and entirely human. Valorn tilted his head, curious. "You humans are strange," he said, the thought entering her mind gently, yet fascinating. Ilara chuckled again, feeling the tension ease slightly. "And you aliens are terrifying." "And so, we understand each other better," Valorn replied, and she could almost feel a smile forming in his presence. Suddenly, alarms echoed across the tower. Human security had detected unauthorized energy readings, the Kareth telepathic pulse. The delegation outside was growing restless. Some wanted to withdraw, others wanted to respond aggressively. Ilara knew she had to act quickly. "Valorn," she said aloud, "we can't stay here. Bye, team. They need answers too. We have to make them see that this bond isn't a threat, perhaps." Valorn's thought was hesitant, as if new to uncertainty. "Very well, show them, human. Show them the truth." Ilara nodded, feeling a surge of determination. This was not just about her. It was about humanity, about proving that humans could rise above fear and misunderstanding, even in the face of something incomprehensible. As they descended together, the psychic thread between them pulsed stronger, guiding her steps and steadying her heart. She did not yet understand what this bond would mean, but one thing was certain. Nothing would ever be the same again. The plaza awaited. The delegation was watching, and across the city the Kareth citizens paused, sensing the beginning of something extraordinary. Ilara took a deep breath. She would face whatever came next, for humanity, for herself, and now, perhaps for the soulmate who had chosen her. And somewhere deep inside her she felt the faintest flicker of hope. This could be the start of something incredible. The city of Elthera was alive with silent energy. Humans and Kareth alike observed the unusual pairing of Commander Ilara Vance and the High General Valorn. Everywhere she went, Ilara felt the weight of eyes on her, both curious and wary. Yet more than any gaze, it was Valorn's presence that pressed against her mind. From the moment they left the crystalline tower, the psychic connection between them grew stronger. It began subtly, whispers of emotion, flashes of thought. At first, Ilara thought she imagined it. Then she realized she wasn't imagining it. Valorn's thoughts, emotions, and intentions brushed against hers in ways she couldn't ignore. She walked beside him through the Kareth capital, marveling at the floating bridges, towers of shimmering silver, and gardens that seemed to grow in impossible shapes. Every so often she felt a ripple in her mind. Valorn's curiosity about her world, his thoughts about humans, his confusion. "You are strange," he had thought earlier. A playful note hidden in the telepathic pulse, so alive, so unpredictable. "I like it." Ilara smiled faintly at the thought. She could feel her heart beating faster, but she forced herself to focus. "We cannot let this connection distract us. Humanity's eyes are on me." Her team, meanwhile, struggled to keep control of the situation. Lieutenant Rourke muttered to the others. "She's connected to him. That's not normal. It's dangerous." Dr. Lee, the team's xenopsychologist, shook her head. "Dangerous? Maybe. But it's also a window. Humans have always succeeded by understanding the unknown. If she can connect with him, it could change everything." Ilara ignored their whispers for now. She had to understand Valorn, the Kareth, and the strange thread tying them together. She turned to him as they reached a quiet observation terrace. Valorn, she said softly, what is this connection? Why me? You feel things humans often do not even notice, he replied, his thoughts gentle and deliberate. Your emotions are clear, strong, and honest. That is why the bond exists, Ilara frowned. Honest emotions? You mean I'm, what, special? Some kind of emotional beacon? Perhaps, he admitted. The Kareth have lost much of what you call feeling. Logic guides us, not emotion. But it is emotion that can change minds, hearts, and even fate. You carry it. Like a light, Ilara's breath caught. She had always believed humanity's strength was in its courage and adaptability. Could it really be in something as fragile, as unpredictable as feelings? Then what do we do with this? She asked, still wary. We learn. We understand. We survive. His answer was simple, yet it carried a weight she couldn't ignore. The first real test came hours later. While exploring the Kareth archives, a vast hall filled with glowing data orbs, Ilara felt a sharp tug in her mind. Vialorn was in danger. Without thinking, she sprinted toward him, the psychic connection guiding her steps faster than sight or sound. She reached him to see a group of Kareth extremists confronting him. Their silver eyes glowed with anger, and their postures were tense, ready for combat. Valorn stood tall, unafraid, but the tension in his mind rippled through hers. They see the bond as a threat. They will not let it continue. Ilara realized the danger before any human could react. Her training kicked in. She raised her hand and spoke aloud, hoping to buy time. Wait, stop! Listen to me. The extremists paused, their attention momentarily captured. Valorn's thoughts reached out almost silently, brushing hers. Stay calm. You have power here. Ilara nodded to herself. She knew she could not fight them physically. Not with so many around. She had to reason with them. This bond, it is not conquest. It is not control. It is understanding. Do you not wish to survive? There was a pause. A few of the extremists shifted their gaze, uncertain. Valorn's presence, his calm strength, and her human courage created a momentary balance. Finally, the lead extremist stepped back. Perhaps we judged too quickly. His thoughts reached hers. Perhaps this is new strange, but not harmful. Valorn exhaled slightly, and Ilara felt relief flood through her. The danger had passed, for now. But one thing was clear, their bond was noticed, and the galaxy was watching. That night, alone in her quarters aboard the human transport shuttle, Ilara sat quietly. She could still feel Valorn's presence lingering in her mind, gentle and constant. She rubbed her temples, trying to understand. You think too much, Valorn's thought entered softly, almost teasingly. She laughed quietly. Maybe, but you are not exactly subtle either. Perhaps not. But neither are humans. That is why I am drawn to you. Ilara stared at the ceiling, the soft hum of the shuttle beneath her. She could not deny the truth. She felt drawn to him too. Not like a soldier to a commander. Not like a human to an alien. Something deeper, something instinctive. The following days revealed more about the psychic link. She began experiencing fragments of Valorn's memories. Flashes of battles, moments of quiet reflection, and glimpses of a society where logic had replaced feeling. She could see why the Kareth might fear emotion. It seemed chaotic to them, unpredictable. But to her it was vibrant, alive, and powerful. Valorn, too, seemed changed. The human influence in his mind brought hesitation, doubt, and curiosity he had never experienced. He began asking questions about Earth, about humanity's values, about courage and love. Every question he asked, every thought he shared, strengthened their connection. Dr. Lee observed the phenomenon with fascination. This is unprecedented, she said to Ilara during a private briefing. You are forming a bridge between two species. A human mind influencing a telepathic alien mind. It could revolutionize diplomacy and survival strategies. Ilara nodded, but she felt the weight of responsibility. This bond is fragile. If I fail, everything could collapse. Their understanding was tested again when a secret faction of Kareth, opposed to unity with humans, attempted to sabotage the summit. Explosions rocked the plaza and the delegation panicked. Ilara felt Valorn's fear and anger as if it were her own. She grabbed his arm, anchoring him mentally and physically. We can stop this, she told him. Together. Yes, he agreed, his thoughts steady. Together. Using a combination of human ingenuity and Kareth telepathy, they coordinated a countermeasure. Alara directed humans to secure civilians while Valorn neutralized the attackers using controlled psychic energy. Their teamwork astonished both species. The extremists were subdued, the civilians safe, and the delegation realized that the bond was not a threat. It was strength. After the chaos subsided, Valorn and Alara found themselves alone in the tower once again. Silence hung between them, filled only by their shared mental presence. "You see now," Valorn said, "our bond can protect, can guide, can create understanding. It is not weakness." Alara nodded, feeling a surge of pride and determination. "I see it," she admitted. "And maybe that's what humanity can teach your people, that sometimes the heart is just as powerful as the mind." "Perhaps you are right," he replied, and for the first time Alara sensed something new. Hope. As night fell over Elthara, the twin moons casting silver light over the city, Alara realized something profound. She was no longer just a human commander on a diplomatic mission. She was a bridge between worlds, a symbol of unity, and her connection with Valorn was only the beginning. Somewhere deep inside, a quiet thrill pulsed through her. The galaxy was vast, full of danger and wonder, but for the first time she felt ready. Together they could face anything. This is only the start, she thought. And whatever comes next, we will face it together. The psychic thread pulsed gently, steady and reassuring, as if echoing her own thoughts. Alara closed her eyes, letting the connection wash over her. She didn't know what the future held, but she knew one thing with absolute certainty. Nothing would ever be the same again. The stars outside the Vanguard blurred as the ship jumped to light speed, carrying Commander Alara Vance and High General Valorn far from the Kareth capital. The city of Elthara, once a place of dazzling beauty, now felt like a cage, a memory of tension and fear. Alara sat in the command chair, staring at the glowing controls, but her mind was elsewhere. The psychic thread between her and Valorn pulsed gently, reminding her that he was close. She could sense his thoughts, calm yet filled with concern. "They are angry," he projected. "Your people fear the bond." "They do not understand, I know," Alara replied mentally, "and some of them will never understand. They think this is dangerous, a threat." "Perhaps it is," Valorn admitted, "but it is not wrong. It is truth." Humanity had never faced something like this before. The United Earth Alliance had reacted swiftly when news of the bond reached them. Commander Vance was ordered to sever all contact with Valorn. Labeled a security risk, her loyalty was questioned. Her bond, something that felt natural, was treated as betrayal. Now, as the shuttle drifted through the empty void between stars, Alara realized that her position was fragile. On one side, humans demanded obedience. On the other, Kareth extremists who opposed her presence saw her as a threat. She was caught between two worlds. Valorn stepped closer. Though she could see his form, it was the feeling of him in her mind that mattered. "Do you regret this?" he asked. Alara shook her head. "No, I don't regret it, but the cost might be higher than I imagined." "We will face it together," Valorn said. His mental presence was steady, strong, reassuring. "Together we can survive." But survival was not simple. A Kareth faction loyal to the old ways had already begun mobilizing ships to intercept them. Human fleets guided by fear were also pursuing the Vanguard, viewing Alara's alliance as a dangerous deviation from orders. Alarms blared as the shuttle's sensors detected approaching Kareth vessels. Valorn's thoughts reached her immediately, sharp and urgent. "They come for us. Prepare for defense." Alara's hands moved automatically across the console, initiating defensive maneuvers. The shuttle twisted and turned, energy shields flaring as Kareth fighters fired upon them. The sound of alarms was deafening, but through the psychic bond, Valorn's calm guided her. "Trust me," he projected. "Follow my lead," she did. Together, they synchronized human technology and Kareth mental strategies, anticipating attacks before they came. The shuttle moved with precision that humans alone could not achieve, dodging blasts and weaving between enemy fire. Still, the chase was relentless. The Kareth extremists were relentless, unwilling to negotiate or understand. Alara realized the truth. They were not just running from one threat. They were fleeing a galaxy unwilling to accept change. Hours passed. The shuttle moved deeper into uncharted space, past glowing nebulae and asteroid fields. The psychic bond between Ilara and Valorn had become more than just communication. It was a lifeline. They shared thoughts instantly, coordinated moves without words, and felt each other's emotions as if they were their own. "Why are you helping me?" Ilara finally asked, her voice low as they navigated a tight asteroid cluster. "Because you understand me," Valorn answered. "Because I see what your species can offer, and because you are the first being who does not fear me." Ilara's heart raced. "I am not afraid because I choose not to be, and because I trust you." "Then our bond is stronger than they can break," Valorn said, and she could feel the warmth of his thought as if a hand rested on her shoulder. But even as they found fleeting moments of calm, the larger reality remained. They could not hide forever. The factions pursuing them would not stop. Humanity feared what they could not control, and the Kareth extremists could not accept something beyond their rigid logic. Their next encounter was unexpected. A lone human vessel, smaller than the Vanguard, emerged from behind a cloud of cosmic dust. Its hull bore the insignia of the United Earth Alliance. A communication signal pinged in the shuttle. "Ilara Vance," a familiar voice called over the comms. "This is Lieutenant Rourke. You are ordered to stand down. Return to Earth immediately." Ilara's jaw tightened. She knew standing down was impossible. Not now. Not after everything. The psychic pull from Valorn reminded her that retreat would mean betrayal, not just of him, but of the chance to show humanity a new path. "We cannot stop," Valorn said, and she felt the firmness in his thought. "They may wish to destroy us, but we must survive together." Ilara took a deep breath and spoke into the comm. "Lieutenant Rourke, I cannot comply. There are things you do not understand. The bond is not a threat. It is the key to survival, for both humans and Kareth. Trust me, or we will find another way." There was a pause on the other end. Then the comm went silent. Valorn's presence was steady beside her. "They are afraid. They will not act rashly, not yet, but the fear will follow us." Ilara nodded, determination hardening in her chest. "Then we keep moving. We keep surviving." As the days passed, the bond between them revealed deeper truths. Ilara could see fragments of Kareth history through Valorn's mind. A civilization that had mastered logic but had lost warmth, creativity, and empathy. Their society was brilliant but brittle. This is why the bond matters, Valorn thought. You humans possess qualities we have long forgotten. You are unpredictable, emotional, courageous. Together, we can create something stronger. Ilara felt the weight of the realization. Humanity was not just surviving in the galaxy. It could lead, guide, and teach. And perhaps, for the first time, a human could show an alien species the value of heart, courage, and instinct. But danger was never far. One night, as the shuttle drifted near a dark, swirling nebula, sensors picked up multiple Kareth warships closing in. Ilara's stomach sank. The extremists had tracked them again. Valorn's thought was calm but firm. "We cannot fight all at once. We must use strategy, not force." Together, they devised a plan. Using the nebula as cover, they created false energy signatures, confusing the enemy ships. Ilara's piloting skills combined with Valorn's psychic foresight allowed them to slip past the Kareth fleet. When the last ship disappeared from their sensors, Ilara exhaled, feeling the tension drain from her shoulders. Valorn's presence softened in her mind, as if proud of their teamwork. "You are clever," he thought. "And brave." "So are you," she replied, a small smile forming. Yet even in victory, the divide remained. The galaxy was divided. Humans who feared what they could not control, Kareth who rejected the bond, and two beings caught in between, forging a new path. Ilara knew the next steps would not be easy. They would have to face both species, prove that the bond was not a threat, and survive the growing animosity. The path ahead was dangerous, filled with enemies who would not accept unity. But for the first time, she felt a quiet confidence. With Valorn by her side, and in mind and in spirit, she could navigate this divide. Humanity could show the galaxy that courage and heart were not weaknesses, but strengths. As she gazed out at the endless stars, the psychic thread pulsing gently between them, Ilara whispered, "We will face it together. No matter what comes." Valorn's reply was soft but unwavering. Together. In that moment, the divide did not feel so wide. Two species, two hearts, and one bond. fragile, powerful, and full of possibility. And for Alara, the realization was clear. This was only the beginning of a journey that could change the galaxy forever. The vastness of space stretched endlessly around the Vanguard, but peace was nowhere in sight. The Kareth extremists had rallied more ships while the United Earth Alliance fleets moved cautiously, unsure whether to attack or negotiate. Commander Alara Vance and High General Valorn found themselves at the center of a galaxy-wide crisis. Alara stood on the bridge, staring at the holographic star map. Red markers pulsed violently, the extremist fleet moving to intercept them. Blue markers represented human forces, some pursuing, some hesitating. Somewhere in that chaos, she had to find a way to survive, to protect both species and to uphold the bond she shared with Valorn. Valorn's presence beside her was constant, steady, and reassuring. She felt his thoughts brush against her mind. Fear is natural, but it will not guide you. Strategy will, Alara exhaled slowly, then we fight wisely. The first strike came near the nebular rift, a region of dense cosmic clouds and unstable energy currents. Kareth warships emerged like silver sharks moving with deadly precision. Their weapons glowed with energy, slicing through the darkness. Alara, we need to coordinate, Valorn projected. His mental voice was calm but urgent. I can anticipate their moves. You can act quickly. Together we can outmaneuver them. She nodded, fingers flying over the controls. Understood. The shuttle twisted, dodging energy blasts with a fluidity that would have been impossible for humans alone. Valorn's psychic guidance predicted enemy maneuvers before they happened. Humans in the control room marveled at their coordination, though they remained wary. We must protect civilians first, Alara thought, directing the Vanguard's shields and defensive drones to create safe corridors for nearby colonies. Valorn felt her determination, and in return he shared his insight into enemy formations, allowing her to anticipate their attacks. Hours of tense combat passed. The Kareth extremists were relentless, but Alara and Valorn's partnership proved stronger than expected. Human ingenuity combined with Kareth foresight created a strategy that kept the shuttle and allied fleets one step ahead. Still, the battle was taking a toll. Explosions rocked nearby ships. Sparks rained across the bridge as systems overheated. The human crew grew tense, some whispering about surrender, others questioning Alara's judgment. Valorn sensed her stress. Do not falter. You are not alone. Alara closed her eyes for a moment, letting the psychic bond steady her. When she opened them, her resolve had hardened. We cannot falter, not now, not ever. As night fell over the artificial darkness of space, a new challenge appeared. A massive Kareth warship, larger than any she had ever seen, emerged from the nebula's shadows. Its energy core pulsed with an ominous glow, signaling power beyond their combined capabilities. This ship is not like the others, Valorn's thought reached her. It is controlled by the extremists' leader. If we fail here, the war will engulf every star in this sector. Alara's heart raced. The risk was unimaginable, yet looking at Valorn, she felt a quiet certainty. They could survive this, together. We have one chance, she thought, coordinating their minds with Valorn's. We must hit the core and disable their weapons simultaneously. The plan was daring. Alara piloted the shuttle into the heart of the nebula, dodging energy beams and debris. Valorn reached out with his telepathy, disrupting enemy coordination and guiding her precise maneuvers. Every second was life or death. The shuttle's energy weapons fired in perfect synchronization with Valorn's mental projections. The massive Kareth warship shook as critical systems were hit. For a moment it seemed impossible that they could succeed. Then with a final coordinated strike, the enemy vessel collapsed into the nebula, its energy core erupting in a silent explosion that lit the clouds with brilliant silver light. Alara exhaled deeply, feeling the psychic thread pulse warmly beside her. We did it, she thought, almost in disbelief. Yes, Valorn replied, but the war is not over. Others will follow. We must decide our next move carefully. That night, as the crew repaired the shuttle and tended to the wounded, Valorn led Alara to a private observation chamber. Stars stretched endlessly, but in the distance, a massive structure loomed, a citadel of light and energy, far older and more advanced than any human or Kareth technology she had ever seen. The Herald of Unity, Valorn explained. It is an ancient AI, designed to guide civilizations toward cooperation. It has influenced events for millennia, searching for a pair capable of merging human emotion and Kareth intellect. Ilara's mind reeled. An AI, you mean all this, our bond, the prophecy? It's part of its plan? Yes, Valorn said gently. It is not malevolent. It seeks unity, but it requires risk, and we, are that risk? Ilara's heart thudded in her chest. The choice ahead was clear. Obey the AI and risk merging completely, surrendering part of their individuality, or reject it and face certain war and devastation. Are we ready? She whispered, though Valorn heard it in her mind as clearly as if she had spoken aloud. We are ready, he replied. We have survived together. We can face this next step together. The next morning they approached the citadel. Its walls pulsed with energy, responding to their psychic presence. Valorn extended his hand and Ilara felt the pull of something beyond comprehension, a merging of thought, memory, and possibility. Inside the citadel, the herald spoke. Its voice was neither male nor female, human nor alien, but resonated in both their minds. You have survived the test. You have proven the strength of unity. The galaxy stands at the brink of destruction. You may choose to merge, forming the Harmony Core. Only then can conflict end. Or you may refuse and the war will continue. Ilara's pulse quickened. Merge and lose ourselves? Or fight and risk everything? Valorn reached for her hand, though it was more than physical. The connection was mental, emotional, and deeply profound. We will not lose ourselves. We will become stronger together. Tears pricked Ilara's eyes. Fear, hope, and determination collided. She realized that humanity's greatest strength had always been the heart. Courage, the ability to feel deeply and act despite fear. And here, with Valorn, she could bring that power to the galaxy. Then we do it, she said, steadying herself. Yes, Valorn replied, and the psychic thread pulsed with light and warmth, intertwining their thoughts. As they stepped into the Herald's core, energy engulfed them, weaving their consciousness together. Memories, emotions, and intellect flowed freely between them. Pain, joy, fear, and hope became a single force. They understood each other completely, human courage and alien intellect merging as one. Outside, the galaxy seemed to pause. Fleets of Kareth and humans halted mid-conflict as a wave of energy radiated from the citadel. It spread like ripples in water, touching minds, hearts, and thoughts. Hatred softened. Anger dimmed. Understanding began. Ilara felt Valorn's presence everywhere, yet still distinctly separate. They had merged, yet retained individuality. They were no longer just human and Kareth. They were something new, something stronger. When the light finally dimmed, they stood together in the citadel, exhausted but triumphant. The war outside had slowed, ships lowering weapons as if feeling the change themselves. We have done it, Valorn thought. The galaxy can now see that unity is possible. Ilara smiled, feeling hope swell in her heart. Not because we conquered, but because we understood. Together they looked out at the stars. The battle was not over, but the path forward was clear. Two species once divided by fear and misunderstanding now had a chance to build a future, guided by courage, heart, and the bond of two souls who dared to unite. No one can stand in our way, Valorn said softly in her mind. Because we face it together, she replied, and the psychic thread pulsed once more, steady and eternal. The galaxy had changed. Across the stars, fleets of humans and Kareth alike floated in silence, no longer poised for battle. The war that had threatened to consume countless worlds had paused, held in the balance by a force neither species fully understood, the bond between Commander Ilara Vance and High General Valorn. From the observation deck of the ancient citadel, now silent except for the faint hum of energy, Ilara and Valorn stood together. They had merged minds within the Herald's core, yet retained their individuality. Human courage and Kareth intellect had fused into something new, a being that could think with clarity, feel with depth, and act with unmatched understanding. The galaxy watches, Valorn projected, gently brushing the edge of her consciousness, and waits to see what we will do. Ilara nodded, feeling the pulse of unity between them. Then let us give them hope. Their first act was subtle but profound. Through the psychic link, they reached out to both humans and Kareth. Thoughts of fear and anger were met with understanding. Hostility replaced with curiosity. For the first time, humans could feel fragments of Kareth logic, while Kareth sensed the warmth of human emotion. Misunderstanding and suspicion gave way to empathy. In orbit around Elthara, both fleets hesitated, their weapons inactive. Commanders on each side could sense the presence of Alara and Veilorn. Slowly, they began lowering shields and opening communication channels. The energy wave that emanated from the Citadel acted like a silent ambassador, bridging the centuries-old gap between species. We have done much, Veilorn thought, but there is still work to be done. Alara's mind pulsed in agreement. Yes, unity is more than stopping war. It is building trust, teaching, and learning. They began traveling between colonies, showing humans and Kareth how to collaborate. Technology was shared. Knowledge of science, medicine, and culture flowed freely. Together, the two species repaired worlds that had been damaged by conflict and built new settlements in uncharted star systems. But the true power of their union lay not just in diplomacy or strategy, it was in example. Every action taken by Alara and Veilorn demonstrated that differences could be strengths. Where humans relied on intuition and emotion, Kareth added precision and logic. Where Kareth were bound by reason, humans introduced creativity and courage. Together, the galaxy began to learn the meaning of harmony. One quiet day, as the twin moons of Elthara reflected on the surface of a crystal-clear ocean, Alara stood beside Veilorn, feeling the pulse of life around them. "Do you think they will ever fully understand?" she asked. "Perhaps not fully," Veilorn replied, his thought gentle and warm. "But they will try, and in trying they will grow." Alara smiled. Humanity had always grown through struggle, through risk, through courage. Now, with the Kareth learning from them, the potential of the galaxy was limitless. News spread quickly. A hybrid council of humans and Kareth formed, led by representatives from both species. For the first time, decisions were made not by fear or tradition, but by collaboration. Conflicts that had lasted centuries found solutions in dialogue, compromise, and shared vision. Alara and Veilorn visited each new settlement together, often observing quietly, allowing others to take the lead while guiding from behind. Their presence was a living symbol of the power of unity. Children of both species played together in the gardens of orbital stations. Scholars exchanged knowledge in interstellar academies. Soldiers trained side by side, learning to respect both courage and strategy. "Look at what they can do," Veilorn said softly, sending the thought directly to her mind. All because they chose to trust, to see beyond fear. Alara felt pride swell in her chest. "It is amazing," she replied. "And it is only the beginning. Even as progress unfolded, challenges remained. Extremists on both sides still resisted change. Some humans feared Kareth influence. Some Kareth mistrusted human unpredictability. Yet the bond between Alara and Veilorn acted as a stabilizing force. Their unity reminded everyone that cooperation was possible, that fear could be overcome. One evening, in the observation chamber of the Citadel, Alara felt a quiet pulse in the psychic link, a soft, warm reminder of their connection. "We have changed the galaxy," she whispered. "Yes," Veilorn replied, "and we will continue to guide it." Not with force, but with understanding. Their journey took them to distant worlds, many untouched by either human or Kareth influence. On one such planet with golden skies and violet oceans, Alara realized the magnitude of what they had achieved. The galaxy was no longer a place of division and conflict. It was a place of potential, and humans, with their courage and heart, had shown the way. "Do you ever regret it?" she asked, letting her thought flow freely to him. Veilorn considered it for a moment. No, even in danger, even in fear. It was worth every moment. Together we have created something the galaxy has never seen. Alara nodded. Humanity had always been resilient, creative, and brave. That resilience had carried them here, beyond fear, beyond prejudice, beyond war. And with Veilorn, she realized, humanity could lead not through domination, but through example, through heart. The final test came when remnants of Kareth extremists and human isolationists attempted one last strike against a colony. They had underestimated the bond between Alara and Veilorn. Coordinating fleets through psychic projection and advanced tactics, the two leaders neutralized the threat without unnecessary destruction. Violence was not eradicated by force. It was ended by understanding and precision. The galaxy watched in awe as humans and Kareth together rebuilt what had been threatened. Star systems once on the brink of war now flourished. Civilizations began to communicate across species, and for the first time there was a sense of genuine peace. Ilara looked at Velorn, their psychic thread pulsing gently. "We did it," she said. "No," he corrected softly. "We only started it. The galaxy will continue, but together, we have given it hope." And for the first time, Ilara allowed herself to imagine a future without fear. A future where humanity's heart and courage could shine across the stars, guiding not only humans but all beings willing to embrace unity. In that moment, the twin moons of Althera reflected in the crystal oceans, a symbol of balance, harmony, and new beginnings. Ilara and Velorn stood together, not as human and alien, not as commander and general, but as one force, a symbol that courage, empathy, and unity could change the universe. "No one stood in our way," Velorn projected softly. A thought carried across the psychic bond. "Because we faced it together," Ilara replied, and the bond pulsed once more, steady and eternal. The stars stretched endlessly before them. But for the first time, the future did not feel uncertain. It felt alive, and humanity, with its heart and courage, had become the light that guided the way.